Well, hello, Tag Nation. This week in professional wrestling, Season 1, Chicago made Punk return to Raw. Yes, I said Raw. Randall Orton in action and his decision. On the AEW side, we had Continental Classic matches from the Gold and Blue League. And we also had some championship matches from both sides. But more after this intro.
T.A.G.
That's tag shit.
Free fall as I die through the kaleidoscope in my mind. No rope up to climb. Gotta remind myself that I'm fine. Mama, I don't really want.
Well, hello. It is the prestigious ScooterRay here, and I'm here to bring you this week in professional wrestling. And let's start it off with Monday Night Raw. Raw give us a new intro and new theme song. I thought it was interesting because it kind of just came out the blue. Then we open up the show with one Randall Orton, and Randall Orton is letting the people know that he's back after a year and a half of being on the shelf. He's back better than ever. And as he was talking, well, before he was saying that things overall have changed and that he's seeing the rise of Judgment Day. He's still seeing the bloodline and still doing bloodline things. And he pledges to exact his revenge on the bloodline. So if you're in the bloodline, you're going to feel the Viper's fangs. And per him talking, Rhea Ripley decides to interrupt, letting Orton know that he's by himself. He has no friends, no faction, nobody to watch his back. How about you join Judgment Day? How about you let Judgment Day watch your back? Randall simply looks at Rhea and goes, ha ha ha, no. And that I'm your father, and that daddy's now home. Rhea didn't take too kind to those words, tries to send Dominic and JD out. It didn't end well. Poor JD. That man has been through a lot this last week, being thrown off of a cage into an RKO, then getting RKO'd again on Raw. The last like week and some change has been unkind to JD. And then Randy gets on the mic and says, "Well, fine, we'll do this. Myself versus Dominic Mysterio later on. I'm gonna get it uh approved through Pierce." We get a tag team turmoil match. The winner of the tag team turmoil will go against the other half of Judgment Day, Finn Balor and Damian Priest. They didn't say when, but they will get a tag title shot. To start off the tag team turmoil, Alpha Academy versus DIY. DIY wins, goes against Enda Sheer. They beat Enda Sheer, goes against the Creed brothers. The Creed brothers gets the W. The Creeds go against the New Day, beat New Day. The Creed goes against Imperium, and they beat Imperium. So the Creed Bros are next in line for a tag team title shot. We get a segment with Judgment Day in the back. JD was kind of indisposed, but we get Judgment Day in the back, and Priest is feeling away that they lost, and he was supposed to be the leader, and that they're looking at him as a failure, and they're like, "Big man, chill, tranquilo. We lose. It happens. We still have all the gold. You're still sending your money in the bank. Nobody is holding you accountable for Judgment Day losing at Survivor Series. It's all good. Relax." We also had Jelly Roll artist there, and we also get a funny segment later with R Truth looking for jelly rolls, platinum jelly rolls, and essentially trashing Judgment Day's clubhouse because he had just powdered sugar everywhere from him eating on jelly rolls. And then, of course, classic Truth, he tells Judgment Day, "Hey, I heard you was looking for a fifth at War Games," and they like, "Man, Truth, what are you talking about? War Games already happened." Truth is like, "Did we win?" Truth, you wasn't even in the match. Like what? Like, you know, classic R-Truth. Classic Truth. We get Cody Rhodes in the ring. He essentially is letting the people know that his story is not over, that it's far from being finished, and that he is, by permission from Pierce, he is the first to declare for the Royal Rumble. Then the lights get dim. Then we see the villainous Shinsuke Nakamura, who's been directing these promos towards someone, and we find out it is to one Cody Rhodes. And he comes out, spits red mist in Cody's face, and leave him there, just bloody, because it was red mist. We get Bronson Reed and Ivar in a beefy boy brawl, big meaty men slapping meat. It ends in a no contest because double cut out. There was no winner. So, which in retrospect, they should have gave that match a winner. Unless they're going to have them eventually do some type of Viking rules or last man standing or falls count anywhere type match, but they should have gave a definite winner for that one. Zoe Stark, Nia Jax. Zoe is feeling a little way because she almost beat Rhea. Nia being antagonistic was like, girl, you wasn't gonna beat nobody. Shut up. And Zoe was like, well, I bet I can beat you. And it didn't happen. Nia gets the dub over Zoe. Seth Rollins comes out, and of course, the crowd being antagonistic was chanting CM Punk's name at Seth Rollins. And Seth Rollins was like, go ahead. You can cheer for that. Um, oh my god, I forgot the word. What's the word? What's the word I'm looking for CM Punk? Yeah, we can call him an asshole, but he was saying you could cheer for that hypocrite. Hypocrite. Just like Lip Dizzle. You could cheer for that hypocrite all you want, but whatever. So he essentially was like, hey, I'm here, Survivor War Games, on to, WrestleMania season with the Rumble and everything. And Drew McIntyre comes out. And Drew McIntyre was like, hey, I learned my mistakes from our matches. And yes, it is my fault that I lost. And that if I get another shot, it's mine in the bag. So he was like, let's do it, Seth, you and me. Seth is like, ooh, about that, Drew. I have a world title match next week, and it's against main event Jey Uso. Drew gets big mad, starts beating up Seth because he was like, I have beef with Jey Uso, and he's the one you give the title match to. Oh no, this injustice cannot stand. So he starts beating up Drew. Main event Jey Uso comes out. Sorry, Drew starts beating up Seth. Main event Jey Uso comes out to save Seth. They both beat up Drew, and that's where we're at. So next week, Seth Rollins, main event Jey Uso, World Heavyweight Championship match. Tegan Knox, Natalya gets a tag team title shot against Chelsea Green, Piper Niven. It didn't work out too well. Green and Niven retains. Orton and Dominic, come on. Do I have to really go into detail of who won that one? RKO later, Randall Orton wins. Then the moment that everybody's been waiting for, one Chicago-made Punk finally returns to Monday Night Raw, which still sounds like a weird sentence to say in 2023. That Chicago-made Punk is back in WWE. He cuts a promo, and everybody was a little like, hey, what's the promo going to be about? Are we going to get something pipe bomb-esque? Are we going to get something like kind of similar to how he was in AEW. No, it was a pretty simple, generic. It has the IWC a little split. His main talking points was I'm home, I'm back, this is where I belong. And essentially, I'm not here to make friends, I'm here to make money. So we'll see what happens with CM Punk and all of that. But that was Monday Night Raw in a nutshell. Next up, Tuesday night's NXT kicks off with a tag team championship match. The family, Stacks and D'Angelo, defending against Humberto Carrillo and Angel Garza. It was a good back and forth match. If you watch these quick tags before, it didn't feel like a title change, but at the same time, I didn't think Chase U was gonna beat the family. So hey, but the family retains. Simple and plain. The family retains. Next up, we had Jerry the King Lawler. So through the weeks, they've been having legends give matches of the Iron Survivors, one for the men and one for the women. This was the final one. This was Jerry the King's. And the first up, Kiana Jordan, Kalani James. Due to Roxanne Perez's interference, Kiana James loses and Kalani Jordan qualifies for the Iron Survivor. Then they announce that next week, the 4 losing men and the 4 losing women will compete in fatal 4-ways to determine who's the 5th person that's going to be in the Iron Survivor. And speaking of the men's side, Braun Breaker, Eddie Thorpe. Eddie Thorpe was coming in already with a little injury. Braun Breaker, come on, it was about as one-sided was going to get. So for the men's fatal 4-way, Tyler Bate, Carmelo Hayes, Eddie Thorpe, and Joe Coffey. That's a potential banger. That's a potential highlight of a match. For the women, Kiana James, Roxanne Perez, Thea Hale, and oh my gosh, who was the 4th woman just that fast? Thea Hale, Roxanne Perez, Kiana James, and Fallon Henley. Thank you, Fallon Henley. That has another potential to be a pretty good match, a banger of a match. So the winner of those 2 fatal 4-ways next week will be the 5th entrant in their respected Iron Survivor match. Andre Chase addressed his little allegation, basically saying he was gambling and misusing college funds. And he said the accusations was true, and he's trying to figure out how to get Chase U out of financial ruin, or otherwise he might have to close the doors of the university. And it was like, okay, I don't see how this scandal caused so much. Yes. The hell. We'll see, because that would be a gamble. Technically, that would be a scandal. Alpha Academy challenged Metaphor to a 6-person tag. Representing Alpha Academy would be Maxine Dupree, Chad Gable, Otis. Metaphor accepted. So we're gonna have main man Mensa, Noam Dar, and Lash Legend. Next up, Ilya Dragunov, Nathan Frazier. This match came about because Corbin had a segment saying, hey, I get to live lavish. I get to live in this house. I get to be with my family. Ilya has to stare at a screen talking to his children and wife. All he has is this tiny apartment. And the only reason why things are good because he has the championship. Nathan Frazier was like, well, if you comparing the two, who wouldn't want to have Corbin's life? Ilya overheard it. He took offense. They had a match. Ilya destroys Frazier. Like it was like, geez, like cut feed, throw in the towel, throw in the towel. While Ilya, if he dies, he dies. And it wasn't that dramatic, but you get the gist of it all. Corbin appears back on the screen and was like, Ilya, you beating up your friends. Like you like, come on now. I got you that frazzled, my boy. I got you that frazzled to where you beating up your friends, your comrades, the people who are willing to look out for you. Like, sheesh. Mm. Ariana Grace took on Carmen Petrovic. It was a match. Grace threw some shenanigans. Threw some shenanigans from Joe Coffey. Not sorry, Joe Gacy. Joe Gacy shows a video of him hiding under the ring for reasons. He emerges from the ring, steals the ring bell, and even everybody is like, what's going on here? Then he appears in the audience after Grace wins and just ringing the bell just frantically. And it's like, okay, okay. NXT Anonymous showed footage that it looks like Lexis King was the one who attacked one Trick Williams, because Trick Williams was from the angle Trick was going in the room. Lexis King swiftly goes in the room after him and the feed cuts. We don't know what happens in the room, but that's what it looks like. Carmelo is like, Trick, we got to get revenge. Trick is like, hey, I need to focus on this Iron Survivor. You need to focus on your match as well. Let's worry about the Iron Survivor situation. Then we'll worry about Lexis King. Well, after there was a segment with Fallon Henley, Brooks Jensen, and Josh Briggs. King comes in and he ended up challenging Brooks Jensen. During the match against Jensen, Carmelo comes out, try to cause interference. It worked in King's favor. King gets the dub. And it was like, okay, cool. Then we get what Wesley has to win a fatal four-way. Now, per the stipulations, Wesley had to win this fatal four-way, which was going to comprise of 3 former champions, to get a title shot against Dirty Dom. If Wesley loses, as long as Dirty Dom is champ, Wes can never get another title shot. Okay, cool. Now you're wondering, who are those 3 former champs? Big Bronson Reed, Cameron Grimes, Johnny Gargano. Now, in retrospect, if you're looking at this match, this would have made a great pay-per-view, PLE, whatever WWE calls them. But it was a regular match. And then the funny part was, Vic Joseph made mention to Dom, whoever wins this match, they get a title shot. And Dom was like, no, this is only for Wesley. So if any of them other 3 win, they just win. Well, they were working their best to isolate Reed a lot in the match because, it's Big Bronson Reed. Eventually, towards the end of the match, Ivar shows up. Him and Bronson fight away, so it left a triple threat. Cameron Grimes hits the cave in. After the cave in, Wesley hits that cardiac kick. 1, 2, 3, boom. Wesley gets the dub. Now, officially, Wesley will go against Dirty Dom at Deadline. And that's how NXT ended. Wednesday's AEW Dynamite, we had some Continental Classic matches, and boy, they were some good ones. It starts off, this is the Gold League side on Dynamite. The Gold League side, John Moxley, Jay Lethal. Moxley already with 3 points, Jay Lethal at 0. Moxley gets the dub over 0. Moxley now has 6. Lethal now has 0. Lethal's still at 0. Let me say it that way. And he is on the bubble. Next loss, mathematically, could eliminate him for even winning. Then we get Mark Briscoe versus Roosh. Both of these gentlemen go in at 0 points. Roosh gets the W. He now has 3. Briscoe is still in the same boat as Lethal. They're on that bubble of being mathematically eliminated. MJF cuts a promo because he does have, MJF cuts a promo, which led to Samoa Joe coming out. They're exchanging words. And then people dressed in all black with the devil logo comes out to attack MJF. Joe helps out. Then words appear on the screen, which alludes to, hey, are y'all willing to go into the unknown into a tag match? You two versus essentially 2 of my goons. MJF agrees. Joe is looking like, I didn't agree to this, but I guess. Warlow squashes AR Fox. Like, let's, we don't even have to. This Warlow squashing AR Fox. Top Flight, answer Andrade. Yes, I said Top Flight because Dante Martin is back. And considering from that gruesome leg injury he suffered back in December, I think it was December or early January, it was a little unnerving seeing him doing these high flying moves. Because it was like, your leg, my boy. When they say break a leg, they don't mean it literally. But I guess once a high flyer will always be a high flyer, and he looks at it as I'm young, I guess. But Top Flight, Action Andretti goes against the Hardys and Brother Zay. Action Andretti, Top Flight wins. It was a match. It was really just to showcase the fact that Dante is back. Then them going backstage, they get approached by Penta El Zero Miedo, showing that, hey, it's 3 of y'all. You got me, Commander, and El Hijo del Vikingo, which they didn't say when that match was going to happen. Yes.
They made amends for him breaking his leg. They made amends for that guy breaking his leg.
Oh, yeah, that too. TBS Championship with with House Rules. Julia Hart defending against Emi Sakura. The main stipulation was the fact that, which before I get to that, I can appreciate Julia Hart doing the House Rules, like how the House of Black did with the trios championships and the House Rules. But the main stipulation is Julia Hart couldn't win with no submission. That was the stipulation Emi Sakura chose. Didn't matter. Julia Hart still won. The main event, because I'm gonna save this segment last, but the main event to close out the show was Jay White, Swerve Strickland, whose house? Swerve house. This was going to be a match. This was a very anticipated match for some because Swerve, Switchblade. Swerve gets the W. He gets a roll-up victory over Switchblade. So it puts Swerve and Moxley at 6 points. Jay White stays at 3. But Christian Cage, Adam Copeland. Christian Cage basically comes out and was like, hey, Adam, come out. I need to talk to you. Christian is like, hey, I'm sorry. When your mom passed, she was like, hey, we should be a team again. We should do this, do that. I'm sorry. Let's just make it work. Let's do this. Forget all the other BS. And then Copeland was like, whatever. He tries to walk off. Christian was going to hit him with the belt. Copeland turns around, Dick kick City. Then The infamous, he says basically, I'm taking your TNT championship next week. Then he reiterates the infamous words Christian said to him a few weeks ago. Go sit and spin. No, he really said go yourself. And that was AEW Dynamite. WWE SmackDown. SmackDown had the return of Randall Orton, and not only the return of Randall Orton, but the deciding factor of, is he going to sign with Raw or is he going to sign with SmackDown? Because he was a free agent. Before, when all the draft was, since he was injured, they labeled Randy Orton a free agent, no longer exclusive to Raw. So we have that. Bianca kicks off the show, basically talking about her team getting the dub, and she can appreciate the fact that Charlotte called thank you. Charlotte called Becky to, for the help, that they was able to put their pride aside for that to happen, and that if she got to run through damage control to get back to Io Sky, then it starts tonight with her going against Kairi Sane. They obliged. Butch took on Bobby Lashley. Butch is a man to himself because Ridge Holland walked out on Butch, and it was like, dang. So of course Bobby Lashley handled that. Then Butch was backstage walking and walking to Pretty Deadly. Pretty Deadly talking trash. Butch tried to fight him. It didn't work out too well in Butch's favor. He got jumped. Santos Escobar takes on Joaquin Wild. It seems like Santos is going to take out every member or every adjacent member of LWO. And it started with Joaquin Wild. No Carlito or anything like that. But yeah. Logan Paul returned and basically announced that there's going to be a tournament to determine who's his number one contender. The tournament consisted of KO, Grayson Waller, Austin Theory, Bobby Lashley, someone from NXT, they didn't say who, and Karrion Kross. They didn't say how the tournament was going to go or anything like that, but there's going to be some tournament to determine who would be. And I feel like I'm forgetting some people. Was it really just 06? It was just 06. Then, who came out there? Grayson Waller. No, sorry, KO comes out there first and basically was like, I'm going to win and I'm going to take the title, but more importantly, I just want to beat you up too. I'm pretty sure a lot of people would be happy to see KO potentially beat up Logan Paul. But we shall see. Grayson Waller, Austin Theory comes out. They lead to words. He jaw jacks KO. He jaw jacks Austin Theory again. Leads to his one-on-one match with Grayson Waller. Owens gets the dub. Oh, I'm sorry. Dragon Lee and Santos were the other two members of that tournament as well. Bianca Belair takes on Kairi Sane. Bianca has backup of Charlotte Flair and Shotzi. Of course, Kairi has the backing of Damage Control in full, or does she? Because seems like on the opposite end of what I'm saying with Judgment Day, they're kind of doing the same with Bayley. It was like, hey, they was kind of a little apprehensive towards Bayley, as if Bayley wasn't the MVP of that match. Even it was announced on commentary that, hey, without Bayley, But Dakota tried to make amends by saying, hey, why don't you come out because you know Bianca the best, come with us. But right before they was coming out and the match started, Io Sky said, no, Bayley, you stay back here. Of course, the ladies led to a brawl. They was all kicked out. Bayley does come out to try to help Kairi. Kairi's fault that she lost because she took forever to try to hit the insane elbow, which led to Bianca basically waking up, getting her bearings, hitting Kairi with the KOD. 1, 2, 3. Bianca wins. Then the main event segment, Randall Orton comes out to make his decision. Per that, Paul Heyman interrupts him saying, it's best you go and stay on Raw. You don't want to bark up the trying to go against the bloodline tree. You saw what we did to you a year and a half ago. Do you want it to happen again? But this time, with Roman Reigns helping out with this, it's best you just stay on Raw. And from that, Jimmy Uso, Solo Sikoa tries to come out. It didn't end well for those two gentlemen, especially Jimmy Uso, because he took an RKO. Then he grabs both contracts, surveys options, through the Raw contract, signs the SmackDown, placed the contract on Jimmy Uso, shakes hands with Nick Aldis, boom, RKO to Nick Aldis. Don't know it's wise to RKO your boss, your GM, but hey, it's Randall Orton. We'll see what happens. And then, of course, Paul Heyman so infamously grabbed his phone, called Roman Reigns. So I'm assuming Royal Rumble, we're probably going to get Roman Reigns, Randy Orton. That was SmackDown as a whole. AEW Rampage, aka Tag Team Extravaganza Night. First match, we get the Best Friends and Hookhausen versus Dark Order, Daddy Magic, and Cool Hand Ange. I mean, of course, who was going to win that? Best Friends and Hookhausen. Wheeler Yuta does come out at the end and stare down Hook. So I'm waiting and wondering when we're going to get this match between Wheeler Yuta and Hook. Sting and Ric Flair come out and talk, which is funny because it's like they were saying the same stuff that they were saying Wednesday, literally again. And it was like, okay, cool. Like at this point, they're only sending Sting and Flair out there to just give that nostalgia factor and let the fans see them before Sting's final match in February. It really nothing. Don Callis family took on some people, and Takesha Hobbs, aka Big Black and Jack, and Kyle Fletcher just destroyed three dudes. That was that. Ruby Soho, Saraya, and Anna Jay took on Hikaru Shida, Sky Blue, and Chris Statlander. Statlander and Sky Blue are still a little at odds because of the little feud. And Statlander is pissed because she wasn't the one who took the pin in the triple threat. It was Sky Blue. Shida was trying to keep the team together. And it worked for the most part because they did end up winning. Of course, Ruby Soho is kind of having her little flirtatious thing with Cool Hand Ange. Anna Jay is like, I'm just trying to get some people together so I can just get some W's. Like, I don't even know what's going on right now. Brian Cage and the Workhorsemen take on Penta, Commander, and Vikingo. Gates of Agony are in the New Japan Tag League right now. So Prince Nana gets the services of the Workhorsemen to see if they're Mogul Embassy material. It didn't work out. Brian Cage eventually got fed up, hit a devastating clothesline on Henry, and just walked out and just let them just do what they do. He didn't care at all. And that was Rampage. And to round out this week of wrestling, AEW Collision. Now, this week we got the Blue League side of things. And first up at the gate, Brody King, Claudio Castagnoli to open up, and Brody King gets the dub. I was shocked. Brody King gets the dub. Brody King is now on the board with 6 points. Claudio stays at 3. Then we get a match between Kiera Hogan and Abaddon. Abaddon gets the W over Hogan. Lights go out. Julia Hart is in the corner staring down Abaddon. Lights go out again. Julia Hart is gone. So I'm assuming we're going to get Abaddon and Julia Hart. And they're definitely going to have an interesting match because I'm pretty sure with the House Rules match, Abaddon is probably going to choose something more hardcore-esque. Another Blue League match. We get another Blue League match. Daniel Garcia in the debut in the tournament, Andrade El Igalo, managed by CJ Perry. Of course, per the rules of the Continental Classic matches, no one is to be at ringside. Andrade gets the dub. He's now on the board with 3 points. Daniel Garcia is on the board with 6. He's on that infamous bubble. He's on that bubble. He's almost mathematically disqualified in the sense to where he can only just play spoiler. The Kingdom versus the Iron Savages, next strong. The Kingdom gets the W. Ethan Page says since he's lost the match against MJF, he had to go home, refocus. He's been racking up wins in ROH, and now since AEW is going to be in Canada next Saturday, he wants to prove who's the better Canadian. So he threw the challenge out to Kenny O. House of Blacks, Malachi Black, Buddy Matthews takes on Matt Sydal, Christopher Daniels. House of Black gets that dub. Once again, the lights cut out, and out comes FTR, and they had them a little brawl, and yeah, it didn't end well for FTR. Not at all. Not at all. Toni Storm has an interview because she has her match against Sky Blue this coming Wednesday. And shout outs to my Hollywood sister, Toni Storm. It's hard out here being royalty. And Sky Blue cuts a promo back on Storm saying that she's gonna basically get that belt up off of Storm. I seriously doubt it. Vikingo takes on Kip Sabian. Vikingo gets the dub. Main event, Danielson Kingston. Danielson's debut match, gnarly eye patch he's kind of wearing. And Danielson gets the dub. Kingston is in that same boat. He's on that bubble because Kingston famously put up the Ring of Honor World Championship, the Neverweight Open Championship. So he's down. He's 0-2 now. So he's on that bubble with Garcia in the Blue League. Like I said, in the Gold League, Mark Briscoe and Jay Lethal. And that was this week in wrestling. Thank y'all for tuning in. Whether you loved it or hated it, don't forget to rate it. Thumbs up, thumbs down, perfectly thumbs up. Like, share, comment, subscribe. And after you subscribe, you got to tag that notification bell so you know when new videos come out. And I guess I can shout out the other members of TAG. The Snake Oil Salesman, Lip Dizzle, Not So Fantastic, Jaeger Bombastic, and Lock the Forbidden Door, Juggernaut 097. The other members of TAG who wants to steal my glory and steal my sunshine. But thank y'all for tuning in. Until next time, love one another, take care of one another. Doesn't cost much to be free. It doesn't cost much to be free. It doesn't cost much to be nice and to be kind to one another. It really doesn't. Take care of yourself. Take care of your mental and physical. And until next time, as I warm up, in my opinion, the second greatest hand gesture in professional wrestling. This too sweet. Thank y'all. And until next time, good people, don't forget to tag out. Peace.